Now we are in chapter number 8 of your textbook, which is titled Aspects of Culture in Ancient India. In the chapter, we shall have to read about the education, literature, science, and art. These are to be read in the chapter. Apart from this chapter, at first I will have to mention the education system in India from ancient to modern. Though in our text, beginning of education system has been described in this chapter. You know, when we read Indus Valley Civilization, where we found the scripts which is known as Kharosthi Lipi. Okay, in our ancient time, the Harappan civilization had a script, but one thing you shall have to remember, but there are nothing about the literature of that period. Okay, in India, you know, in our previous time, the Gurukul system of education has been started from our ancient period of Indian subcontinents. Students or learners are habituated to live in the house or ashrams of Guru or his master, and they learned different things, ethics, and the art of fighting, art of living, and so many things. This time of education or this type of education was known as Gurukul system. And after that, when Buddhism, we saw here the Buddhist received education in Buddhist Bihar. The students are required to reside there and pursue studies. Certain new subjects are introduced at the time, like agriculture, medicine, statecrafts, etc. The educational institutions named ashramas emerged around this time. Other subjects were also taught at that period. Apart from the religious studies, many subjects were taught in the Buddhist monasteries. Courses on how to shoot arrows and handle swords, how to wrestle and play different kind of games are taught. The Shamans and Buddhist mendicants had to even learn to spin their thread and weave clothes. Separate rooms are provided for the students to live in the monasteries, and the admission was on the basis of merit. Fees had to be paid for education, that is called dakshina. Even needy students, though belongs to the comparative poor family, received scholarship at that time. After that, during 4th century BC, when Buddhist literature, and after that, at the period of Vedas, the poetry, grammar also taught. Not only that, one was also required to study astronomy, astrology, mathematics, chemistry, etc. However, these subjects were read mainly by Brahmins. Kayasthas studies those subjects which would help them manage day-to-day affairs like wars, hunting, currency, and examination of documents. Vaishyas and Shudras studies trade and commerce, agriculture, and animal husbandry. This was the educational system during Buddhist period and the period of Vedas. And the modern education system, just like educational system of Gupta age, the role of different educational institutions noticeable, but the traditional system of receiving education by staying at teacher's house also continued. At the time, different kings had built schools. Among the subjects to be studied there, scripts, language, and Vedic literature were most important. Poetry, grammar, astrology, drama, law, politics, and art of warfare were also taught. Not only that, vocational education also emphasized at that period. These are the educational system, and after that, the Mahavira during the Buddhist monasteries, and the Nalanda Mahavira was built, and our education system, the process of education was started, and the continued for a long. In our textbook, where some educational institutes have been mentioned, just like Taxila Mahavira. You know, Taxila was the capital of Gandhara Mahajanapada. The Greek, Persian, Kushanas, and Shokas had occupied Taxila at various points of time. As a result, there was an assembly of people and scholars from different countries. Buddhism had become popular in Taxila. Gradually, Taxila had gained recognition as an educational center. Students from different parts of the country visited Taxila for higher education. Students between 16 and 20 years could gain admission in this Mahavira. Students are also selected on the basis of merit. And the religion or religious identity of or caste of the students did not matter. They could study there for about 8 years. Kings and merchants donated money and land to keep the Mahavira functional. At Taxila, the examination procedure was simple. It seems that there was no written examination. However, the standard of education was quite high. Famous students of this Mahavira included Jivaka and Panini and Chanakya. This was about the Taxila Mahavira, which is an important part of our education system in our ancient period. Education system of Gupta period and post-Gupta period. Now, I am explaining this. In the post Gupta period, a new ritual was introduced that was something like the Hate Khori ritual or the ceremony that initiated a child into education. And I hope everybody of you know and very well known these terms Hate Khori. Obviously, during the Saraswati Puja, our Hate Khori ritual system or ritual customs are observed in our present time. Actually, at the age of 5, one was introduced to the world of alphabets through this ceremony. At this stage, students were taught textbook and mathematics. And I hope all of you are well known and have been taken Hate Kori during your age period of 5 years. Okay. Now, the practice of literature in ancient India. In this chapter, that is page number 113 in your textbook, 8.2, I mentioned the practice of literature in ancient India. You know, language. Language is the most important to communicate each other. Communication through space requires language. You know, again, language is also needed to communicate through writings, but there is a lot of difference between the spoken and written words. And some regional dialects influence to spoken in language. These influences are not present in the written language. So, we may communicate two ways. One is dialectical language and another is written language. We may express ourselves in various dialects, but the way of writing is different from our dialects. Okay? And if you read your textbook, there are no heavy information, and I will tell you to read your textbook, that is page number 113, and you will get some informations about our post-Gupta period or education system of our post-Gupta periods or Gupta age. Now, in page number 114, did you know Ramayana and Mahabharata? I would like to mention about a great epic of Indian subcontinent, that is Ramayana and Mahabharata. And I would not like to discuss in details because everybody of you know or heard about the Ramayana and Mahabharata. And I will tell you to read this from your textbook, and one thing you will remember. Actually, Indian culture and cultural activities and social activities or social characteristics are there. So, in the story of Ramayana and Mahabharata, this is the symbol of Indian culture, Indian society system, and the history of our past. In Ramayana, there are 24,000 couplets or sloks in Ramayana, and the entire epic is divided into 7 khanda or sections. For this, Ramayana is known as Saptakanda or Saptakhanda. The first and the seventh khanda were probably not composed by Valmiki. These were later added to the Ramayana. The key characters of the Ramayana are Rama, Sita, and Ravana. The main story of the Ramayana revolved around the war between Rama and Ravana. And the next story you know, and I hope you will read from your textbook. The another great epic of India, that is Mahabharata. Mahabharata is actually a narrative of Bharat clan and its activities. At the every time of Mahabharata, there are 8,800 sloks in Mahabharata, and there are two category or two families here have been mentioned. One is Pandava, that is another is Kuru. So the another history or next history So another I will tell you to read it from your textbook. Ah. And actually the Mahabharata is the principal theme of the Mahabharata was the war between Kaurava and Pandava. It also contains discussion on the other subjects like geography, science, politics, economy, society. The entire Mahabharata is divided into 18th Sarga or section. Around 6th century BC, both these epics assumed their modern form. Okay, that's all. So,